The samurai, warriors of feudal Japan, paragons of virtue, masters of the sword, warriors bound by honor so absolute that death itself seemed preferable to failure. This is the image most people imagine when they think of the samurai, the legendary Japanese samurai who dominated the battlefields of feudal Japan. But like many legends, the reality is far more complicated and far more fascinating, because the samurai were not simply noble swordsmen wandering through cherry blossoms with katana swords at their side. They were products of a brutal and unstable world, a warrior-class Japan created through centuries of political collapse, civil war, betrayal, survival, and transformation. They served emperors, overthrew governments, fought each other endlessly, embraced firearms, became bureaucrats, fell into poverty, and eventually transformed into symbols of Japanese identity itself. This is the story of the samurai, warriors of feudal Japan as we understand it. To understand samurai history, we first need to understand the geography that shaped Japan itself. The Japanese archipelago sits just off the coast of mainland Asia, separated from the Korean peninsula and China by narrow seas that acted as both barriers and bridges. This isolation protected Japan from many invasions, but it also allowed enormous outside influence to flow into the islands. For centuries, Chinese influence on Japan transformed the early Japanese state. The imperial court adopted writing systems, religion, architecture, political structures, and military ideas from China. During the Heian period, particularly early Heian Japan, the Japanese ruling elite admired the power and sophistication of the Tang dynasty, influenced so deeply that much of Japanese civilization was modeled after it. The capital at Kyoto capital became the political and cultural center of the country. The emperor ruled in theory over all of Japan, but theory and reality are often very different things. As the imperial government expanded northward into northeastern Honshu, it encountered fierce resistance from the Emishi people. These groups were culturally distinct from the court-centered Japanese state and had developed deadly horse archery tactics, perfectly suited for rugged terrain and irregular warfare. The armies sent against them relied heavily on Chinese-style infantry formations. But these heavy formations struggled badly against fast-moving mounted warriors using guerrilla warfare and mobile attacks similar to later Mongol-style tactics. So the Japanese adapted. Instead of defeating the Emishi completely through conventional warfare, the imperial forces gradually adopted their methods. Mounted archers became increasingly important. Rural military families gained influence. Provincial warriors learned mobility, raiding, and cavalry warfare. Out of this violent frontier environment emerged the proto-samurai. The word samurai originally meant something closer to servant or attendant, but these warriors quickly evolved into something much greater. As the central government weakened, regional military families gained autonomy and formed semi-independent feudal domains across the countryside. These were the first samurai, and this immediately destroys one of the biggest myths surrounding samurai culture. The early samurai were not elegant katana dueling masters. In reality, the first samurai warrior were primarily mounted archers. Their bows were far more important than their the katana swords that dominate modern samurai mythology would only become iconic much later. As feudal Japan evolved, power slowly shifted away from the emperor and toward military elites. The Japanese feudal system became increasingly decentralized. Wealthy landowners built private armies. Rival clans competed for influence. And eventually, the warrior class Japan had created became stronger than the state itself. By the late 12th century, civil war erupted. The victorious Minamoto clan established the Kamakura shogunate, the first Japanese shogunate in history. This transformed Japan forever. The emperor still existed, but now the true ruler was the shogun, a military dictator Japan obeyed in practice. Even if imperial authority remained symbolically important, the Japanese emperor figurehead continued to represent legitimacy, but actual power increasingly belonged to the samurai elite. Beneath the shogun stood the daimyo, powerful feudal lords Japan depended on to govern provinces and maintain military strength. Loyalty, land, and warfare became the foundations of the political system. And then came one of the greatest tests in medieval Japan. In the 13th century, the Yuan Empire under Kublai Khan launched the Mongol invasions of Japan. The Mongol fleets crossing the sea toward Japan represented one of the largest military operations the world had yet seen. The samurai expected honorable duels between elite warriors. Instead, they encountered coordinated infantry formations, mass archery, explosives, E5 drums, and disciplined tactics unlike anything they had experienced before. The Mongols fought collectively, the samurai fought individually. At first, the Japanese struggled badly, but the samurai adapted quickly. They launched night raids, burning ships tactics, surprise boarding attacks, and what were effectively samurai suicide attacks against Mongol vessels anchored offshore, and then nature intervened. Massive typhoons saving Japan destroyed large portions of the invasion fleets. These storms became legendary as the kamikaze storms, the divine winds believed to have protected Japan from conquest. The invasions failed, but victory came at a terrible cost. The Kamakura-era government exhausted its resources defending the country and rewarding its warriors. Political instability spread once again. Rivalries deepened. The Kamakura shogunate weakened. Eventually, it collapsed. Another military government emerged, the Ashikaga shogunate, but unlike its predecessors, it struggled to maintain control over increasingly independent daimyo. Then came the Onin War. What began as a political dispute between the Hosokawa clan and the Yamana clan exploded into a catastrophic conflict that devastated Kyoto and shattered centralized authority completely. And from those ashes emerged the Sengoku Jidai, the warring states period Japan would remember as the Age of Endless War. This was the true golden age of samurai warfare. Japan fractured into hundreds of feudal domains ruled by competing warlords. Alliances shifted constantly. Betrayal became common. Entire provinces changed hands overnight. This is the period that created most samurai legends. And once again, reality was far more complex than mythology. Bushidō code, the supposed absolute moral code of the samurai, did exist in various forms, but it was not the rigid universal system people often imagine today. Samurai honor mattered deeply, but survival mattered too. Samurai honor and deceit existed side by side. Some warriors displayed extraordinary loyalty and generosity. Others committed ruthless betrayals without hesitation. The famous rivalry between Wasugi Kenshin and Takeda Shingen perfectly captures this contradiction. The two daimyo fought repeated campaigns against each other in what later generations romanticized as gentlemanly warfare. One legendary story claims that when Takeda Shingen lost access to vital salt supplies due to enemy blockades, Wasugi Kenshin secretly provided him with replacement salt. According to tradition, Kenshin declared that he fought enemies with swords, not by starving them. This became known as the Salt Supply Incident, one of the most famous examples of samurai honor. But these ideals did not stop deception, assassination, or treachery elsewhere. As the wars intensified, 2005 new technology arrived in Japan that changed everything forever. European traders introduced Japanese firearms, including the arquebus guns. At first, some samurai dismissed them as unreliable or ineffective, but ambitious leaders quickly recognized their potential. This destroys another major myth, the idea that samurai rejected gunpowder weapons Japan received because firearms were dishonorable is largely false. In reality, samurai and firearms became deeply connected. Japanese armies rapidly adopted muskets and integrated them into warfare on a massive scale. The romantic image promoted later by stories like the Last Samurai myth ignores this reality entirely. One of the greatest military innovators of the era was Oda Nobunaga, brilliant, ruthless, and ambitious. Nobunaga used firearms aggressively and efficiently while crushing rival clans across Japan. He came closer than anyone before him to Japanese unification, but samurai history was filled with betrayal. In 1582, Nobunaga was suddenly attacked by one of his own generals, Akechi Mitsuhide. The reasons remain debated today. Personal grievances, political ambition, humiliation, revenge, all may have played a role. Cornered and defeated, Nobunaga committed suicide. The betrayal in samurai history shocked the country, but the age of war was nearing its end. After years of struggle, Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged victorious at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. This battle effectively unified Japan under the Tokugawa shogunate and ended the chaos of the Sengoku Jidai. And suddenly, the samurai faced a problem they had never experienced before: peace. For generations, the samurai had existed for war. Their identities revolved around combat, loyalty, and military service. But the Edo period samurai now lived in a stable society with few major wars to fight. The hereditary samurai class remained socially dominant, but their role changed dramatically. Many samurai administrators became tax officials, clerks, guards, scholars, or government workers. Samurai civil service positions replaced battlefield commands. The warrior elite slowly transformed into a bureaucratic class. Yet they still carried swords, still wore traditional clothing, still maintained elaborate samurai hairstyles, still practiced ritual and etiquette. Bushidō evolution accelerated during this period. Values like etiquette and politeness became increasingly important. Martial ideals remained central to samurai ethics, but actual warfare faded into memory. Even martial arts Japan developed differently during this era. Systems like kendo, the way of the sword, emphasized discipline, philosophy, and controlled practice more than practical battlefield combat. Samurai training increasingly became symbolic and cultural rather than military necessity. Meanwhile, the Japanese economy Tokugawa society created was changing rapidly. Merchants grew wealthy, cities expanded, trade increased, but many samurai stipends remained fixed while prices rose. Increasing numbers of samurai fell into debt and poverty. Some became desperate. Masterless samurai, known as ronin, wandered the country searching for employment, status, or survival. Some became teachers or mercenaries. Others became criminals. Stories of samurai bandits spread throughout the countryside as the once proud warrior class struggled to adapt to a changing world. Then the outside world returned. In the 19th century, Western powers forced Japan open to international trade. The old political system collapsed under pressure. Reformers demanded modernization, and in 1868, the Meiji Restoration ended the Tokugawa shogunate. The new Japanese empire rapidly industrialized. Feudal privileges were abolished. Samurai lost their special legal status. The warrior class disappeared officially. This marked the decline of the samurai. But paradoxically, it also marked the birth of the modern samurai legend. As Japan modernized, nostalgia and samurai romanticism exploded. The memory of the samurai became idealized and mythologized. Bushidō transformed again, no longer simply a warrior ethic, but a national philosophy tied to loyalty, sacrifice, discipline, and identity. Modern Bushidō became deeply connected to Japanese nationalism during the rise of Imperial Japan in the 20th century. 5 elements of samurai legacy and Japanese military culture influenced political ideology and wartime propaganda during Second World War Japan. And yet the samurai never truly disappeared. Even today, 5. Their influence remains embedded within Japanese traditions, martial arts, literature, cinema, and global culture. The image of the samurai continues to fascinate people around the world, not simply because they were warriors, but because they represent something larger: discipline, loyalty, ambition, honor, contradiction. The samurai perceptions versus reality are what make them so compelling. They were neither flawless heroes nor mindless killers. They were human beings shaped by centuries of warfare, politics, fear, survival, and change. The history of the samurai is ultimately the history of Japan itself, the transformation of the land of the rising sun from isolated feudal kingdoms into one of the modern world's most influenced nations. And perhaps that is the real legacy of the samurai. Not the sword, not the armor, not the myths, but adaptation. Because across centuries of chaos and transformation, the samurai changed again and again to survive the world around them, and in doing so, they became immortal. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Japanese history, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected for more explorations into the rise and fall of civilizations, empires, and legendary warriors throughout history.